Good day everyone! We Group 3 are ready to present our topic. So the topic that assigned to us is all about contemporary art. So first, defining contemporary. So what is contemporary? Contemporary are either happening at the same time or happening now. Contemporary art is recent art. In history class, if you hear that one famous person was a contemporary of another, that means they live at the same time. Contemporaries are people and things from the same time period. Contemporary can also describe things happening now or recently. It's common to speak of contemporary music or contemporary furniture. For example, those things are new, not old. Anything characteristic of the present day can be called contemporary. So in short, contemporary is existing at the same time or of the present time period. An example of contemporary is furniture in the modern style.
Today, I would like to talk about the history of arts in between modern and contemporary art. So, modern and contemporary art can both be considered revolutionary. But contemporary art is more about experimentation and freedom. Modern art is an expression of individuality, while the contemporary art focuses on social impact with society as the primary focus. As we can observe from the given example artworks in contemporary arts, it shows how it influenced globally, culturally diverse, and technologically advancing world in terms of social impact that focuses on the society. In the contemporary arts, the contemporary artists give voice to the varied and changing cultural landscape of identities, values, and beliefs. So let's proceed to the given example, artworks in the modern art. So the artworks in the modern arts is the encouragement that can provoke independent thoughts and even emotions. So in terms of individuality in the modern art, you can support yourself financially and you did not depend on anyone else for your needs. For the addition and for the clarification, also for more understanding about modern art and contemporary art, always remember that the modern art are started in 19th century and ends in 1960. So it means those art forms or art movements that develops in that years is called as the modern art. However, or inverse, those art forms or art movements that develops in 1960 until in present days is called as the contemporary art.
Example of modern art and example of contemporary art.
One of the other contemporary art movement is called pop art, the 1960s onwards. Pop art was both modernist and contemporary. It started out by depicting a more up-to-date reality, using images of film stars and other celebrities, as well as mass-made consumer goods. But this was rapidly eclipsed by an increasing postmodern focus on impact and styles. See for an instance our short guide to Andy Warhol's pop art of the 60s. As you can see in the example, pop art on the other hand is slightly more restricted with bright colors, deeply contrast mediums, and juxtaposition making the movement narrower in scope than its bigger, more diverse brother. The next contemporary art movement is called word art or word painting. The 1960s onwards, word art was a brand new form of painting or sculpture which used text-based imagery. It was associated with artists like Robert Indiana, 1928, Jasper Johns, 1930, On Kawara, 1932 to 2014, Barbara Kruger, 1945, and Christopher Wood, 1955. This is the example of word art or word painting made by Christopher Wool. The term word art describes a category of text-based postmodernist art employed by several contemporary artists since the 1950s. A simple definition of text-based art might read, art that includes words or phrases as its primary artistic component.
Next example is graffiti art 1970s onwards, also known as street art, spray can art, and assural art. Graffiti art is a style of painting associated with hip-hop, a cultural movement which sprang up in various American cities, especially on New York subway trains during the 1970s and 1980s. B-boys, the first generation of hip-hop boys, the frustrations of urban minorities in their attempt to create their own form of art, a non-commercial one that did not seek to please the general public. In short, graffiti art, they employed stencils, marker pens, and assural spray cans and worked with industrial spray paints and acrylic on all types of support, stone, plaster, metal, wood, and plastic. Their canvases were subway trains, walls in urban areas, and industrial wasteland, subway, roofs, and billboards. Additionally, during the 1970s, graffiti art spread to Europe and Japan and eventually crossed over from the street into the gallery. So the heart of the movement, however, was New York City. The last example is Neo-Expressionism, late 1970s onwards. One of the several styles of postmodernism, Neo-Expressionism is a board painting movement that appeared around 1980 in response to the stagnation of minimalism and conceptual art, whose intellectualism and the style purity had dominated the 1970s but was now beginning to get on many artists' nerves. So, Neo-Expressionists championed the highly unfashionable practice of fine art painting and supported everything that the modernists had tried to discredit: figuration, emotion, symbolism, and narrative. They used sensuous color and incorporated themes associated with numerous historical styles and movements, such as the Renaissance, Mannerism, Cubism, Fauvism, Surrealism, Abstract Expressionism, and Pop art.